All right, so just to review a little bit from yesterday, we learned how to open Photoshop from your start menu. I won't show you on this computer because we're not at the same type of computer, I guess, opening screen, so I don't want to confuse you. But again, when you need to create a new document, you're going to create new. After new comes up, what you're going to find is you'll have some options there. I talked yesterday about the importance of making sure you watch out for pixels. Pixel is very different than inches. Again, a pixel is like a tiny point. Like when you make dots on a piece of paper with a pencil, that's like a pixel. So you want to make sure that that is changed to inches. And in this case, we are doing an 8-inch by 8-inch document. And our resolution, I also discussed. Resolution we have at 300. That's a really nice, it's not too big, but it'll still give us good prints. Problem with anything like a 72, that's great for the internet because it loads much quicker, but for quality, it will not print up and look as nice as it could look. Notice it's already set here as RGB color 8-bit with a white background. Just double check, that's usually where you're at for a default. In case someone changed it for some odd reason, you want to double check. And at that stage, you can also even change the name of your document to start with. But again, that's completely optional. Once you say okay, you're going to end up with a nice box. Now, if for some reason it comes up and it's little teeny tiny box, it's far smaller than what you see, there could be some reasons behind it. And you might want to go ahead and check image and image size. Top menu image, and you're going to go ahead and choose image size. And you're going to see, again, this is the box that I need you to keep your eye on. If you change, oh, what's 2400? That's awful. And I'm going to change that to 8. There's your document right there. It's tiny. So again, you want to make sure you're changing the correct parameters because we're not working with pixel dimension on a lot of the projects. What we are working with is the finished size in inches. And in this one, it's 8 by 8 with 300. It's a perfect square for a specific reason. Now, you'll notice these two are locked. So when you change one, the other one will automatically change. So please realize that you do have the ability to change that right here by unclicking and saying, I want an 8 by 10. There we go. You just want to be prepared to know about those changes, and you can actually create that. Okay, so yesterday we talked about these tools on our left toolbar. We've got the Marquee Tools, and don't forget anything with this little arrow in the bottom right-hand corner gives you options. You have lots of options in there, including the rectangular marquee, the elliptical marquee, and we really don't use the single rows very much in here. No, they exist, but you probably will not be using them. We used these yesterday. You learned that you drag and then you could paint bucket in a specific color. When you paint bucket in a color and nothing happens, you should look right here at this little guy called your color picker. In your color picker, that will tell you this is your foreground color and this is your background color. If you press the X key on your keyboard, it'll actually swap them for you. So you can swap your foreground and your background color. I click now and it fills. I clicked before and it looked like it didn't do anything because I had white located in my foreground. Okay? Up here are my swatches. I also explained that you are able to go to your window top menu. You're going to be able to see that there's a Swatches panel. You can add that in your right-hand side so that we can go ahead and see. Notice it took it away. We can see all of our beautiful work. So then when you click on one of these colors, it adds it into your foreground so that then you could use it. I also explained that you can use any of these tools, and if you hold down the Shift key, you get a perfect version of it. So this would be a perfect circle. If I don't hold the Shift key, that's what happens. So Shift, no Shift. Okay? So you really want to be aware of that. We also have these things called crawling ants, and crawling ants are part of a selection. You can see these look like little ants are marching around this. They're very tiny blinking cursors almost. And you need to get rid of that by select and deselect or Control D. Okay? So with that, we have layers in Photoshop. And if you don't see your layer panel right here, you're going to go to Windows and make sure that you touch on Layer or hit the F7 key. You want to see these layers. You really need to know what you're doing and where you're doing it. simply because if you put the wrong thing on the wrong layer, it's not going to act the same way. And you guys being in graphic design, super important that you do put the correct things on the correct layer, because otherwise down the road it could cause you some more kind of bumps and hiccups, okay? Over here in the lower right hand corner, I showed you one way to add a new layer. We can add a new layer and that will give us layer 1. Or you can come up to the top menu, layer, new, and layer. It'll start you off with some questions. You could just automatically say, okay, you can see I have layer 2. And as I add more layers, you're going to see it numbers it automatically. Also really good, I would recommend that you rename your layers. When you go click, click right on the word, it highlights your letters in blue, and you can call this blue circle. And while this layer is highlighted, you can go ahead and create, let's say I do a perfect circle. Let's go right there. And I'm going to make it blue. I'm going to use my paint bucket, and I'm going to dropper it in. Okay? Now I'm going to put another one, and I'm going to call it red square. I'm going into my rectangular marquee. I'm going to put, I need to get rid of this crawling ant. Control D or select and deselect. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start making a red square by holding the shift key down so it's perfect. I'm going to paint bucket in with red, and there we go. But I don't want this red square in the front. I want this red square behind my circle. The beauty about working in different layers is I can deselect, and I can come over here and I can drag this layer underneath. Notice though, if I try to drag it underneath my background layer, it won't let me. Your background is your background. So if you don't want that green on that background layer, if you want to be able to manipulate it, you're going to want to make a new layer. You're going to go ahead and make sure that you're adding whatever that is. Like this one happens to be the green rectangle. I'm going to make sure that that is on this layer right here. I'm going to come back over here and select, deselect, and I'm just going to fill. Edit, fill with white, that whole layer. So I have nothing on my background. These are now movable and layerable, okay? So basically what we did was we opened up a brand new document. We learned how to make sure we had the correct size or how we could resize it if needed. We learned about our top toolbar, our left toolbar, and we'll just call this our right toolbar. So if I say find it on the top, find it on the left, find it on the right. We learned how to get missing information back into our panels over here on the right hand side. You can get anything that's missing there. And then I'm going to also show you really quick this guy right here. If your tools are not showing properly, if you notice that your tools are not showing properly, you need to fix that, because otherwise it's really annoying for you to try to function. And we work that out by going to Windows, Workspace. I have it on Essentials. Just the basics kind of gives us a good background bit of information. You can press Reset Essentials. That'll reset all of your panels so that you have it looking like mine would look. Now, if your layers are missing, you can click on the word layers and you can go ahead and open that back up. All right? So that's what we're looking at. I'm looking at you giving me a clean background layer with nothing on it. I'm looking at you giving at least 3 of the other layers with different shapes on it. And I want to see that you know how to rename them and that you know that they can function independently of each other. So that's what you're going to be doing right now. I'm going to walk around. I'm going to check and see how that's progressing. See that you know how to manipulate and change to the different layers. And then we'll go from there.